because Tony said like maybe 5-10 minutes.
Okay. And,
like
and
that.
you're good to go. Looks
Okay.
great.
Okay,
Maybe
great.
start with an introduction. Hello, I am.
And you want me to look at the camera or just over at you?
Either one. I
Maybe
mean,
I'll
it
look at
seems
you.
a little more
It'll be a
natural
little more
if you're
natural,
looking at
yeah.
me. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a great background shot with the
Good.
trees. So
Okay.
you're good. I think you're good there.
Good. Okay. So hello, my name is Tim Corcoran. I live here in Sandpoint, Idaho, and along with my wife Janine Tidwell, we run Twin Eagles Wilderness School, which is a nature connection mentoring organization that we founded in 2005. So this is year 17 for us. And I also serve as a spiritual mentor and I have a personal private coaching practice, and I also lead Wilderness Vision Quests at another organization called Purpose Mountain. So our work at Twin Eagles Wilderness School is all about connecting human beings back to the natural world, deepening connections amongst the human community, and deepening connections to the self, to the deep self, right? This question of why am I here, and what do I really have to offer the world? What brings real meaning and fulfillment to my life? And so we've been successfully running Twin Eagles here locally, 17 years. And prior to that, and this is where I first met Tony, 10 Fingers, Janine and I were part of a wilderness school back in Vermont, the Vermont Wilderness School. And that was, we started that in 1999. And that's how we met Tony. Tony was one of the first mentors who came out and actually helped guide the foundation of that school. And he was a very influential individual in my life and in our lives getting started. When we first started, I saw pretty early on, I felt a calling towards not just connecting with nature, but helping others do the same. And so I saw pretty early on that my own calling and vision and purpose would be eventually to start a school of our own. But as a young man, I wasn't sure of myself, and there were inner questions and turmoil and doubt and fear, like probably we all have. And Tony was one of the very first people who really saw me and saw that spark, that dream of something bigger, and help nurture and encourage that. Sometimes I talk about it like Tony believed in me before I did. And I still remember, oh gosh, this would have been really a long time ago. This would have been like maybe the fall of the year 2000. And Tony was in Vermont doing a training. My wife, Janine, and I, we weren't even married at the time. We were just in our mid-20s or so. We were attending his workshop, one kind of like this weekend. And Tony asked if I would have lunch with him, which I felt really honored by, So we sat down and had lunch, and I told him during that, he asked me about why I was doing what I was doing and everything. And I told him about my dreams and hopes, really. It was at that point to maybe start our own wilderness school at some time and help people connect back to nature and back to themselves. But I had uncertainty about myself, right? And of course he could read that. He could read me like a book, like he does everyone. And I'll never forget his response. His response was, "Well, Tim, when you start your wilderness school, you'll find that," and I don't remember the rest of it, but that wasn't important. What was important was how he began, which was when you start your school. And his confidence was shocking and surprising, and also spoke volumes. He saw something greater within me, my potential, right? Something that I, at that time, didn't have the eyes to see yet. And so Tony brought us in. We served kind of as his apprentices, you might say. And everywhere he'd go around the East Coast and up and down the coast and to the Midwest, running workshops, he would always fly Janine and I out, and we'd help out. And I always felt so honored, And I think one of the things that really stands out to me most about Tony is just the hugeness of his heart and the softness of his heart, and how he works to include everyone that everyone has a meaningful role to play. And for me, as a person that didn't experience that so much, especially as a kid, being included in that way just meant the world. And that's the mark of a true mentor, right? A true mentor is one that can see the potential of an individual and help coax that out, which he very much did for us. And so, yeah, in 2005, we started our wilderness school, Twin Eagles Wilderness School here in Sandpoint. And, humble beginnings. I think we just had a couple of apprentices to start and one program with maybe a dozen kids. And as things progressed, we always gave everything we could to it. It's been our passion, it's been our calling to really guide people, and not just in one-time programs, but through the years. Just like Tony showed up for us as a long-term mentor, we learned to do that for others. And so now, here this weekend, I've got one of my students who I consider more of a nephew, Oscar Angel. Oscar's 20 years old, and I've been mentoring him since he was 6. So what is that? 14 years. Took him through rites of passage, out of boyhood into adolescence, and another recent rite of passage, a vision quest, marking formally the entry into adulthood. And so looking back now, we've touched thousands, maybe over 10,000 lives. Not that that's the important metric. Really, I think the important metric is about depth, how deep the mentoring goes. I'd much rather take, a small group of people in a deep journey than a big group of people in a superficial one. Much like Tony and other mentors have guided me in that way. So, yeah, we've been doing it a long time, 17 years. We've touched a lot of lives. It's been deeply fulfilling and meaningful. And a recent chapter and shift has been that after years and years of guiding people in the nature connection journey, what I found was that people's sense of purpose in life, the deep spiritual purpose, like why we're really here, that naturally emerged and became stronger in the people that had a solid connection to nature. And so I really see it that connecting with nature is a core developmental need that we have as human beings. I don't see it as optional or extracurricular. I really see it as a core need developmentally for us as humans that these days is more and more lost. And that when that comes in place, the fullness of who we are in the deepest sense can blossom. So after years, of mentoring people in nature connection, we saw that when they got to adulthood, they just took off with passion and purpose and really making a difference in helping the world, helping humans and the natural world. And several years ago, my own sense of deep fulfillment actually started to dwindle from my work at Twin Eagles, which was a bit of an existential crisis for me. But long story short, I was evolving in my own calling, in my own understanding of my calling. And I was beginning to see that I needed to help people more explicitly and be explicit about the fact that I'm here to help others cultivate that sense of purpose and vision in life. And so that's when I started my second organization, Purpose Mountain, where I do one-on-one work with a private coaching practice, spiritual mentoring, helping people cultivate that sense of a deep purpose using nature-based approaches, including the old ceremony of the wilderness vision quest. Fasting alone in the wilderness for 4 days, really going out with a singular intention of, why am I here? But of course, lots of preparation, lots of mentoring, lots of support leading into that, and lots of support, integration work, and mentoring on the tail end as well to really support a holistic process. So yeah, as I think back on the years working with Tony, there's nothing but gratitude. Last year he came out and made a really special connection with my youngest son, Forrest, who's 12. And that's another teaching that really stands out to me from Tony. I remember years ago him saying this, this was back in Vermont, that a traditional Lakota teaching was that our work in this world is to cultivate a sense of love through our family at first, right? Our family of origin, and then go out into the world and share that. And I believe the Lakota word is oyate, which means like clan or tribe or kind of extended family. That our work is to build our oyate in this world. And Tony's always done that. He's always been so generous with his heart and really opened himself and encouraged those connections. And that's something I've learned to walk with, doing my best to help bridge those connections with everyone, who I cross paths with. And through that, deepening those connections, deepening that strength that we find when we come together. So yeah, nothing but gratitude for Tony and his really significant impact on me in my life. Yeah.
Well, I know Tony thinks a lot of you too. When he introduced you, he said that you had many words of wisdom to share, and your work with Oscar has been quite apparent this weekend. Yeah. He's been able to lead and take part in each of the ceremony processes. Mm-hmm. He's quite a fine example of your mentoring, and so he's been an enjoyable part of this weekend, and I'm glad that you were able to bring Forrest with you. I know we met him for just a minute earlier, and I'm so happy to hear about the work that you're doing and hope you get to continue for many, many years.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an honor. It really is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add before I turn it off? I mean, you've done great. We're at about 11 minutes.
Oh, gosh. So well, I think we're good then.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity.